Today's conversation is for anyone who's tired of pushing through and is ready to slow down, listen, and reconnect with themselves. We are chatting with Andrea Meier, founder of Andrea Meier, LLC, a holistic wellness collective.
This is Charleston Women Podcast, where you can meet like-minded, strong, independent, professional, and inspiring local women. This is Charleston Women Podcast.
Hello, this is Kim Russo, your host of the Charleston Women Podcast. Today we welcome Andrea Meier, founder of Andrea Meier, LLC, a holistic wellness collective in Mount Pleasant. Andrea is a holistic integrative therapist who supports women in reconnecting with themselves emotionally, mentally, and physically so they can live and work in ways that feel grounded, sustainable, and true to who they are. Andrea, welcome to the Charleston Women Podcast.
Thank you so much for having me.
I want to kind of go into what is the Holistic Collective and what do you do?
We're a collective of women therapists, primarily working with women in the Charleston community, and have a strong focus on anxieties and traumas, relationships, addictions, but really when we think of like holistic wellness, we're really trying to attend to like the whole person as far as like emotions, that physical health, and also our mental health as well. I have about 20 years of experience in the field and have brought a lot of like my learnings through my own life experiences, in addition to trainings and, education into the work that we do here. And so I'm really, really excited to be able to share that with you.
How did you get your start into being in the holistic world and also being an entrepreneur here in Charleston?
Well, I think I've known since I was very little that this is the direction that I wanted to follow for my career path, and have worn a lot of different hats in my career, from, academia to working with NIDA and residential programs, and you kind of name it. And I feel like it was all to get to this point of being able to bring all of that I've learned into my own space. I moved here during COVID to Charleston. Interesting timing, and really took my time of really engaging in the community and learning, about the systems here and the folks. And so I really wanted to start the practice here in Charleston with intention. A lot of hats got me to this role, and I couldn't be happier.
If somebody's looking to work with you, so what kind of things would they be experiencing or feeling when they want to reach out to you?
We work with a lot of women in the Charleston community in particular, certainly men as well. And I think generally people are reaching out because they're at maybe some like burnout phase of just feeling like they're doing too much. They're in some maybe life transition kind of stage of maybe a big move or, a divorce or addition of a child. But I find, like, especially over the past year or so, that people are really tuning back into themselves and really trying to focus more on their own kind of internal presence and regulation. And I don't know if, that makes, complete sense, but I really want to be able to lean more into that kind of like deeper, quieter work. And I think that's what a lot of folks, I think, are transitioning when they're seeking therapy.
Can you explain that a little bit more? Like, what do you mean by that?
Yeah, I think people seek therapy for all different kinds of reasons. And I think people generally think of traditional talk therapy and maybe going in and learning skills, how to manage our thoughts, how to manage our emotions, and so forth. And in my experience, I've just learned the value in this deeper, quieter work. And what I mean by that is like that deeper core level, almost subconscious level for folks. And so, yes, we do a lot of traditional talk therapy, but also leaning into things like EMDR, internal family systems, somatic work, really trying to support people kind of at the root versus like going in and just trying to like cope with what's coming up, really trying to get to those roots of like, how do we dig those out and better understand them so they don't keep growing back.
Can you explain what like EMDR is?
The premise really in some of this deeper work is that we have like this innate ability to psychologically heal. Similarly to like physical injury, like if we got a cut on our hand, our body's going to know what to do, probably with little intervention. It's going to know to close up. Maybe it scabs over. Maybe there's a faint scar there. We have that same innate ability if we target the appropriate pathways. And I know that might sound rather abstract as I'm describing it, but some of these deeper interventions help us get to more of that available space, being able to tap into the subconscious to allow that space to heal in the way that it needs to. So with little like kind of direction or intervention, we're just letting that healing happen in a more organic way versus feeling like we're pressuring or forcing it.
How do you decide what treatment somebody has when they come to you?
It's a great question. I think a lot of prospective clients come and they're maybe seeking a particular approach. I think that people are becoming much more familiar with interventions like, EMDR and IFS, the internal family systems. But really, part of it is we take our time really of trying to like get to understand what's bringing a client in, what their personal kind of goals are, what they're trying to heal or where they're trying to grow. And because we do this like integrative work, the integrative work is we're just trying to like bring these various pieces kind of all together. So part of it is some education on what the different interventions are. It's almost like a buffet for clients of like what seems like the best kind of like match or puzzle pieces to put together for them. We kind of like weave in these different interventions as we get to know a client. And some clients come in and they don't want to do the deeper work, maybe because of fear, not maybe being ready. And that's okay. And we really work with people to meet them where they're at.
In 1996, it was Southern Women to Women magazine. Now it's Charleston Women magazine. Charleston Women is all about strong, capable, confident, hardworking, nurturing, determined, dedicated, and inspiring women. Our readers are business owners, entrepreneurs, mothers, sisters, wives, and grandmothers. Pick up your copy of Charleston Women magazine at Charleston area Harris Teeters and Food Lions. Charleston Women magazine. We are Charleston Women.
You're listening to the Charleston Women podcast.
How do you work through those patients that are kind of reluctant but know that they need that help? What's the one step that you do to take with them to get them to their healing journey?
A lot of compassion. We lean into the work that we do because we understand. A lot of us have been through our own life struggles or challenges or traumas or so forth. And so I think it always starts with compassion. And then I think understanding whatever those blocks are, and a lot of it tends to be fear. In the IFS model, the internal family systems, those are like protectors. Don't get vulnerable. Just cover it. Don't get too vulnerable. So I think with a lot of compassion and understanding and being able to address some of those fears or protectors that are coming in, clients for the most part become interested with time. But we're never here to force anybody, obviously, to do anything that they're not ready or comfortable with. And there's lots of other approaches that aren't at that deeper level that also have really great benefit.
So I know something you say is healing doesn't mean fixing yourself.
Yes.
Can you explain that? I know I've been like many times when I'm stressed out or burnt out with work, I'm like, I need fixing.
And I think a lot of us feel that. You're not alone. We have many of those moments. And we try to like take a step back from that and really just, again, try to lean into being more in tune with ourselves to understand like what is coming up. And again, coming from that lens of compassion, listening more to like our bodies than just our minds of that rumination or critic that comes up. Instead of what's wrong with you, you need to be fixed. It's more of like, what has happened or what have you experienced? And how do we approach that healing in a more soft and gentle way?
So your collective, that's the name. What does the collective mean? And is it just you? Are there other therapists?
Yeah, we have a team of therapists here. They're all fantastic. I bring in other therapists that share similar passion and specialties, just desire to do this integrative, holistic work. So we all kind of practice under this same umbrella as far as the focus of women's health, of trauma, anxiety, relational concerns. We each kind of differentiate in some ways also in some uniqueness or specialization. We've got one therapist here that is doing a lot of work in the equine assisted psychotherapy space, and we work with Barn over in Johns Island to do some of that work. We've got another therapist here really leaning into more of the kind of infertility and conception, perinatal, postpartum kind of work. We've got another therapist. She's a certified meditation instructor, and she really helps lead the practice at an individual and a group level with more kind of meditative practices. We got another therapist really leaning into the divine femininity and like spirituality. So it's really cool. We all come together, then we have like this uniqueness that makes it a lot of fun.
Well, that's where you get your name holistic, because you seem to cover everything.
There's a lot going on over here.
Do you ever have a patient that, since you do cover so many things and there's so many different areas that people specialize in, is there ever a patient or client that you recommend seeing multiple therapists?
That's a great question. I think generally, like when people are coming in or expressing interest or, inquiries, is that we offer free consultations. So they're welcome to kind of like meet briefly, either phone or virtually, to kind of feel it out. They have that opportunity to kind of trust their instincts in that meeting. And I'm always available to help guide who I think might be a best fit based on what they're looking for. So, in general, people align with one of the therapists here and do that individual work. Sometimes then they'll want to do some of that more kind of one-on-one or group meditation. They'll do some of that work with one of our other therapists, or they're really interested in equine assisted psychotherapy and they'll go to the barn, or maybe they're interested in like ketamine assisted psychotherapy and they'll do some of that work with me adjacent to their individual work. I think primarily we're all kind of working kind of one-on-one with folks, but there's also this overlap, which I think, again, in some ways, kind of like a one-stop shop where there's a lot of opportunity under one roof.
Yeah, because I know I need meditation and soul healing.
Don't we all? And in some ways we're a little selfish, right? Because we get to like enjoy the fruits of some of this labor. It kind of holds us accountable as well to really be investing in our work.
Now, you mentioned coming here to Mount Pleasant and Charleston during COVID. I did as well.
Yes.
As primarily therapist and wellness collective, what was it like starting your business during COVID? And I didn't even really have Zoom until COVID. What is the preference of patients? Do they prefer virtual, in person? What are the trends you're seeing now that life has opened up too?
The last few years have been quite a ride for us, hasn't it? I think 2020 was definitely, rocky for therapists as far as that transition to more of the virtual space. And I think we all felt that. I'm so grateful that we have the technology to be able to continue to support folks because, anxieties and depression and addiction and all of that really skyrocketed, unfortunately, during the epidemic. But I think that life has opened back up the past few years. What I'm seeing now in 2025 and into this year is that people are much preferring in person. I think we all just crave that connection. And I get it. It's much different being in a room, on a couch, face to face with somebody. So we're seeing trends of a lot more folks seeking the in-person. And we've got a nice space, and I think that helps. But I think having the flexibility to be able to meet virtually as well goes a long way. People are busy. If we can avoid our own personal excuses of I'm too busy or I'm working or I got too much to do, and it's as easy as just picking up a phone or a computer. I just think it helps all the work that we're trying to do.
And is it flexible? So let's say I'd want to do virtual this week and in person next week.
One of the benefits maybe of us all becoming more familiar with technology is that I can change that 1 minute before the appointment. Somebody's like, I'm stuck at work, I can't get out. Like, can we do this from my office or my car? I'm like, yep. And it's just a button. Makes things a lot more convenient and accessible.
If you had one or two things that you could say to anybody that's listening right now that knows that they need some help, but they're kind of reluctant to go into this route to seeking help, a gentle first step that they can do just to get there.
It's reminding ourselves that we deserve care also, especially women. I think there's a lot of external focus on who needs us and what's too selfish or indulgent or whatever else. And so I think it's checking in with ourselves, really checking in with ourselves of, what do I need? Am I honoring those needs? Am I respecting those needs? What I'm worthy of, what I'm deserving of, and being able to carve out a sliver, at least, of time. And whether that's therapy, whether that's taking a walk uninterrupted, whether that's a bubble bath, whether that's doing some stretching, we self-sacrifice every day and we don't feel like it's important. But what happens is that it can come to points where it starts screaming at us about how important it is. So we want to be proactive with our health and our well-being. I don't think we attune enough with ourselves.
Do you have anywhere that anybody can go to find any steps that they could take and any suggestions?
Related to our practice, you can check out our website at AndreaMeierLLC.com. And there's a wealth of information too online for folks that are looking for general grounding and mindfulness kinds of techniques. There's a ton of apps and things like that available as well. We are always putting out some education and some tips and tools, also on our Facebook and Instagram sites as well. We talk a lot about nervous system regulation and mindfulness and grounding strategies. Part of it is finding something that resonates for you and making it part of your rituals and routines.
So you mentioned relationships. Who do you service? Is it men, women? Do you do families and children?
Although one of the focuses is women's health and wellness, we do a lot of work with men as well, anxiety and trauma and some addictions and relationship concerns. We do a lot of couples sessions. We do a lot of family sessions. We also offer intensives. Intensives are really about allowing more time to go even deeper.
Well, how can somebody get booked for a free consult to kind of take that first step?
We have all of our availability on our website, AndreaMeierLLC.com. Check out the different therapists and directly book on there. You're also welcome to reach out directly to me. My email is Andrea@AndreaMeierLLC.com. Phone number 843-994-2838.
Andrea, thank you so much for being a guest today on the Charleston Women Podcast and allowing us to learn all about your Holistic Wellness Collective.
Thanks for having me. This is fun.
I'm Kim Russo, your host, and I'll see you in the next episode of Charleston Women Podcast.
Thanks for spending time with Charleston Women Podcast. Please like us and follow us on whatever platform you're using to access Charleston Women Podcast.